Hi, this is Pat Ray again with from Pat's Prevention and Treatment Services in Urbana, Illinois. This is Module 4 of the 10-hour risk education program. Today we are going to do a couple of things, well, really a few things. One is we are going to answer all the questions in the module that I am sending you. Two, we are going to do a change plan. This is the plan we've been talking about since the beginning. The plan that we have to make sure we have no future alcohol, drug-related driving problems or problems in general. So I want that to be filled out in detail. I do not want one line answers, one sentence. I need to have detail. This program is being provided online due to the circumstances in our world today. And normally we would have a lot of interaction and discussion about the change plan and changes that we want to make and how we're going to do it. So I need detail in that. The last thing that we will do is review for the post-test. You will complete the post-test and send that to me. Again, if you could email that at pat@changeisachoice.org, or if you could text it to me at 217-766-9132. I would appreciate that. Okay, so moving into today's module, Module 4 talks about use, abuse, and addiction. So let's clarify what that is. When we talk about patterns of use, excuse me, I've got my notes over here. When we talk about patterns of use, we want to discuss the different relationships with alcohol and other drugs that can range from abstaining to addiction and everything in between that. So we want to talk about what happens. How do people go from use to addiction? Well, first of all, let's break it down. There's about 35% of individuals in the United States that do not use alcohol or other drugs at all. They just don't. It doesn't interest them. It's not part of their life, or they've chosen not to for one reason or another. Okay, so no use at all. Then there is use, sometimes known as social use. People will often say, oh, well, I just use socially. And when I discuss it with them, I find out that when they use socially, they are becoming intoxicated. They are having problems due to that intoxication. They're using over the moderate amount. And remember, moderate use of alcohol is 3 to 4 drinks 2 to 3 times a week for men, 2 to 3 drinks 2 to 3 times a week for women. And as we know, you can't have more than 5 nanograms of THC in your blood and 10 in your saliva. I may have twisted that up. I better go back and look. I will before we're done. Okay, so people who use more than that are not social users. A social user, someone who just uses, does not become intoxicated, does not become impaired, does not drink to intoxication or use in excess, even at home, even when they're not driving. It is not the focus of their life. They don't care that much about it. Cat crossing, sorry. Get away, kitty, go. Okay, so they don't care about it when they go to the picnic with the family. They go to see the people. Now, there may be some beer there. There may be some whiskey there. There may be some cannabis there. There may be some cocaine there. There may be some whatever there, some lemonade, some root beer, some ice cold water, whatever it is. The social or the user will choose any one of those. It doesn't matter to them. It's whatever they have a taste for at that moment. They do not abuse substances, alcohol, other drugs. And we know alcohol is a depressant drug. Okay. So they do not go to the party, to the occasion, to the bar to see how much they can drink or use, or because that's where the good dope is. That is not part of their life. They go to see the people, to do the activity. Substances is not the focus. Okay. All right. So that's social use or use. Abuse. Well, let me tell you again, moderate use is 3 to 4 drinks, standard drinks, 12-ounce beer, 5-ounce glass of wine, 12-ounce wine cooler, 1.5-ounce shot. For other drugs, such as marijuana, we know that there is a legal limit, so everything below that, that's standard use. That's standard drinks. Okay. Substance abuse. Oh, and for women, then I said it was 2 to 3 standard drinks a week, or at a time, 2 to 3 times a week. So, substance abuse happens when you're using more than that. Are you using more than that? If you are drinking 4 to 5 or 5 to 6, that is considered binge drinking. That is not moderate use. If you are drinking to excess in order to deal with a life circumstance, pain, situation, that is abuse. If you have medication and your medication says take 1 pain pill every 4 hours and you're taking 2 to 3 or in that period of time, that is abuse. So abuse is when you're using more than the moderate amount or you are taking more than prescribed. So when people begin to abuse substances, they usually have other life problems. They begin to have struggle meeting their responsibilities in life, going to work or whatever. Some people say, oh, I never had trouble going to work. But what was your work quality, your production quality when you got there? So think about that for a minute. We go into work, no matter what. Have you ever been around someone like that? They go to work, but man, are they grouchy, difficult to be around. Okay. The other thing that happens when folks start to abuse substances is risky behaviors, taking chances, doing things they wouldn't normally do. It also plays a role in someone who has problems, interpersonal problems, family problems. Those may increase. So, what is a behavior of a person you know that you consider to be a substance abuser? Think about that. Just take a look at it. Oh man, they've got a substance abuse problem here. What are the factors? What indicates that to you? Okay, so one thing about abuse. Abusers can go a couple of different ways. After the crisis, the situation, the event in their life has passed, many can go back to moderate use. Many. However, some will never be able to go back again, and they move into full-blown addiction. They can never go back. Addicts, alcoholics can never go back to moderate use. So let's talk about addiction. So addiction happens when the body and brain become addicted to, obsessed with substances. So after a while of using, when one beer used to make them feel good, now it's 7 beers. Tolerance has built. One hit, they could feel it, relax, have a good day. Now they're smoking 5, 6, 7 blunts a day. All right, so tolerance requires a greater amount of the drug to achieve the desired effect. Can no longer get that. Okay. All right. Another thing happens. Sometimes when people stop using abruptly, there will be withdrawal symptoms that cause physical or psychological discomfort. Physical, like having the flu, hurting real bad, being sick, can't sleep, all of those types of things, having the shakes when the alcohol is leaving the system. There's also psychological discomfort. Obsessing about the using the drug, getting off work, getting there, getting some more, craving it, wanting it, it becomes unbearable and it compulses the individual, in many cases, to go back to drinking and using. So it's a physical and a psychological addiction. Over the use begins to be more over longer periods of time. Folks will try to stop or reduce without success. They may find themselves spending a lot of time either obtaining, using, or recovering from the effects of alcohol or other drugs. They may find that the things that they enjoyed in the past, like social events, occupational or recreational activities, are reduced. They continue to use despite experiencing physical or psychological problems. So I want you to look down on the page 35 that says, "Where am I?" Check that out. Where do you think you are? Okay. All right. So let us move ahead. You have things to do on those sheets, which I will let you do. But now we are going to talk about what are risk factors for addiction. Well, we find out that there are biological, psychological, and social. Biological. Research has shown that some individuals may be what we call predisposed to using. Predisposed. That means that the way that their genes are set up, if they use, they might be more likely than other folks to become addicted. Sometimes that is when there is some addiction somewhere in their family. So some people are more likely to. That doesn't mean they have to. Okay. All right. Other people will be more their life, their environment. There will be more using of alcohol, excuse me, alcohol or other substances in their environment. So their family, friends, neighborhood, a lot of using going on. It's accepted. It's what's done. You do it with every meal, every day, whatever. And so the chances of becoming addicted are greater for individuals who are around people, places, and things on a regular basis or grow up in that environment. Again, because we live in that environment or grow up in that environment does not mean we'll be addicted, but it is a risk factor. Psychological. Some folks will find that They have events in their life, tragedy in their life, stress in their life, poor self esteem, many, many, many psychological factors. And some of those folks will cope and medicate, self medicate their depression, their feeling of loss or emptiness, whatever it might be. Some people will use substances to fill that void, to help them to get through it, to help them to feel better, to help them to deal with life, whatever's happening. That is a risk factor for addiction. Not everybody who has depression or struggles or stress or bad situations in their life is going to become addicted, but it is a risk factor. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is how addiction affects the family. Okay, whatever we do has a ripple effect. Some people will say, hey, I'm only hurting myself. Well, that's not always the case. For example, you have a family, the adults in the family, and we're going to talk about the adults in the family, although it can also be adults and children or siblings, other kinds of ways, parent, child. But we're going to talk today about the adults in the family. You have an adult in the family who has a substance use problem, and their focus is totally on finding the ways and means to using and recovering and doing it again, cycle again. It doesn't mean they don't love their significant other or that they don't love their children or that they don't have dreams and aspirations. What it means is right now, at this point in their life, they are obsessed with that substance. You have the partner, significant other, family member that is obsessed with the person who is obsessed with the substance. That person who is obsessed has taken over roles and responsibilities of the addicted one. They pick up all the pieces, they take care of everything, they do things, enable the other person to continue to use. And during that process, they become not such nice people. Because why? They become resentful and angry. Because the more they do, the more the other person does less and continues to use or even increases use. So here you have it. You have the addicted person whose focus is out here. You have the partner whose focus is right here. Where is this person? What are they doing? Are they spending money? Where are they at? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to jail. I got to bail them out. Do. Here you go. Now, down here, you have the little people in the family. Little people in the family deserve to be nurtured. They deserve attention. They deserve safety. They deserve love. They deserve nurturing. They have all these needs. They deserve them, and they have needs. Sense of belonging, feeling respected, feeling cared about. These are needs. All these kids down here. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5, who knows? They have needs. Guess what? When these folks up here, they're all like this, up here. These folks down here are left pretty much to figure things out on their own. They're not getting their needs met because the obsession between these two does not allow for it. So The little folks in the family will find ways to meet their needs. So let's take a look on page 41. And you will see that some of the kids, or one of the kids, and if people can play, kids can be going back and forth in between what we call family roles. Somebody in that family may be called the hero or the responsible one. This is how this person, this child, this young person gets their needs met. They strive for perfection. They try to get everything done. They want to make sure they're right. They are often good in school, good in employment, whatever they put their mind to. They are the hero. Everybody looks to them. Oh, look, he or she has got it all together. Well, the problem is on the outside, this person looks really good. That's how they're meeting their needs. That's how they're getting the attention, the love, whatever. That's how they're getting those needs met. On the inside, though, they strive for perfection and many times do not feel that they are enough, which oftentimes leads to self-destructive behaviors with food, alcohol, drugs, self-harm, many other types of things, bad relationships, and on and on. The next one that we're going to talk about is the scapegoat or the rebel. This one says, hey, there's no way I can be that hero child. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And therefore, this one draws attention away from the family's primary problem of dependency, alcoholism, or addiction by creating trouble, problems. They may do it through delinquency, a regular misbehavior, bad grades in school, whatever it might be. The negative behavior may be a way of asking for help. This person is often successful in diverting family attention from the addicted person because now this kid here, he's in the youth detention center. He's gotten expelled from school. He's been shoplifting. He's been fighting, or she. And this one oftentimes develops a substance use problem themselves. The next one we're going to talk about is called the lost or quiet child. This one gets their needs met by ignoring the problem, the entire problem. Oh, everything can be chaos and going crazy in the house. This person stays away from it. They're off in their room, reading a book, playing a video game, talking with their friends on the phone, doing whatever. The lost child isolates and is apathetic, just doesn't care. He or she does care about the addicted person in the family, but reacts to the entire situation by staying away from it. Isolation, very lonely person, and oftentimes will themselves have problems with substances to self-medicate their loneliness and their pain. Here's another example, and there may be more that you know of, but here is the last one we're going to talk about today. This is called the mascot or the clown. This one uses humor to shield themselves and others from the pain of the addicted person and the impact on the family. They get their needs met for attention, for love, for admiration, for caring by always coming up with a quick joke, humorous facial expression, doing something silly, falling over the footstool, whatever it is, and it is meant to divert attention away from the serious consequences of addictive behavior. Okay. Now, as you look back over those, you may know people that fit into those classifications. So I want to go back again to the ripple effect. When you throw a stone into the pond, you see the little rings and it ripples out. Nothing is done in isolation. There's always an impact that flows out. Whatever I do impacts others. Whether I believe it or not, whether I accept it or not, that's what happens. It's the same way with addiction. One person in the family affects everybody. There's another thing that I want to tag on right quick. When the addicted person goes and gets help, and he or she comes back to the family, the rest of the family hasn't gotten any help. So their dysfunctional behavior is still going on. Many times that will be a challenge for the person coming home and can often lead to relapse. Not that the family makes them relapse. They are not responsible for their relapse because it's still their choice. But it's an environment. It's a risk factor. Okay. All right. So in your manual, you're going to learn all about the stages of change. My expectation is that you will complete that part of the lesson. It's extremely important. The last page on this, in this lesson, if I can get to it, page 55. Page 55, guys, is the change plan. This is very important. I need you to identify the changes that you want or need or want to continue to make in order to ensure that you will not get another alcohol drug related DUI arrest. Okay? So, the first part should be changes I want to make or continue to make, and I want some detail on that. Then the next one says, the reasons why I want to make these changes are, why do you want to make them? You may want to make them because you don't want to have to spend money again. You don't want to have to go to jail again. You don't want to struggle through this whole process again. Or maybe you don't want to do it because you don't want to put yourself at risk and you don't want to put your others at risk, and you don't want to put your family at risk of heartache and pain in case something bad, terrible would happen. Then the next one is the steps I plan to make changing are. Here again, I want some concrete stuff. Well, I'm just not going to drink anymore. I'm just not going to smoke anymore. That's not enough. Driving or getting a designated driver is not enough. Riding in an Uber, Lyft, taxi is not enough. I want more than that. What are you going to do to make a change so you know what are the steps that you are going to take to ensure there will not be another risk? Number one, moderation. Number two, if you're going to go have a drink, even one, do not drive there. Moderation is the key. I want those and more on your sheet, please. The ways other people can help me are, who is it that can support you through this, help you to stay on track, who love you, care about you, who have a good head on their shoulders? Who are those people? I will know that my plan is working. How are you going to know it? Some things that could interfere with my plan. There's always life events that could interfere. I want you to give some real thought to that. And what will I do if my plan is not working? All right. Very good. Right now, I want to just do a 5-minute review. You know, we talked about what sobers a person up is time, only time, and that's it. We also talked about the first thing to go after you've had a drink or a drug is your judgment. We also talked about that there's only a certain amount of people that are going to use substances at all in the United States. And we've also talked about that alcohol itself is a depressant drug. And so if I use it, it's going to slow down my reaction time. We said that alcohol is still the most commonly abused drug in the United States, or maybe even, in the United States. We also said that you can get a DUI without a BAC, with a BAC of 0.5, a 0.05, 0.06, 0.07. It does not have to be 0.08. We also said that there are signs and symptoms of addiction, and today we spent a lot of time talking about those signs, symptoms, and risk factors. We also said that if you get a DUI, if you have a BAC of 0.20 and you go to bed, you could still get a DUI on your way to work the next morning, at lunchtime, and it takes the whole next day to get that alcohol out of your system. We know that if you refuse to take the test, you have implied consent in the state of Illinois, which means if you refuse it, there's a penalty for that. We also said that there is no way to predict how substances are going to affect others. All right, so I am going to email you this module. I need the module, I need the change plan, and I need your post-test, okay? So I'm going to send those to you, and you may email them, pat@changeisAchoice.org. You may also bring them to the office between 9 and 1, Monday through Friday, or 5 to 6, Monday through Thursday. You can mail them to 300 South Broadway, Suite 110A, Urbana 61801. You can text them to 217-766-9132. All right. I've enjoyed talking at you these last 4 modules, and I've also enjoyed your responses to them through the email and text messages. Okay, have a great day, and hopefully we will all be well. Thank you.